Welcome back to Cape Cod Like a Local. Today we have Nancy
and Darci,
and we'd like to talk to you about a very serious subject today. When you've lost a parent and they've left you their home. And this is a process, as a buyer's agent, I'm seeing more and more homes in this situation. And we wanted to share our thoughts on that and some steps to make sure that you take.
Let's actually start from the perspective of a seller. So if this unfortunate situation has occurred and you have been left a home that you weren't anticipating, and you're faced with now having to figure out the whole process of how to liquidate that property. And there's a few steps that you would want to take. I guess the first thing you should do is contact your trusted realtor, who can put you in touch with a real estate attorney who specializes also not only in closings and title and escrow, but also in the whole probate and estate process. So it's really important to get that process started quickly so you can figure out, how much preparation your parents did, or if they did any at all. Did they have a will? Did they put the home in a trust? That sort of thing. So that's the first step from the seller's perspective if you're in this situation, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
The issues that arise are trying to figure out, especially if there's siblings and heirs, the attorney's going to guide you on the legal process, which, we can't really speak to, but there'll be a certain set of, a certain scenario in which the process has to go, where the probate court might be involved, or the attorney will let you know who the personal representative is. Aside from the legal process of trying to figure out who takes those steps and who has the right to actually sell, whether it's the personal representative or the executor, that process will be done in the background by your attorney, and you'll be left with trying to figure out how to prepare the home. If there's more than one sibling, more than, a couple of heirs, who's going to take what responsibilities? Who's going to be responsible for cleaning out the house, disposing of the furnishings? Do you need to contact an estate sale company? There's costs involved with getting the home ready to sell, like having a septic inspection. Who's going to pay those costs up front? Another good idea would be to consider having a pre-inspection on the home before you put it on the market, especially if it's a home that you're not all that familiar with, you never lived there. It could ease the situation later once you have offers coming in and buyers are looking to have a home inspection. If you've got a good handle on the condition of the home through a pre-inspection, that would be great. The other option would be, of course, to just sell the property as is, saying, you never occupied the property, you don't really know what the condition of the property is, and there's nobody really left who's going to take care of repairs. So a lot of times you'll find that estate sales, the listings will show that the property's just being sold as is.
I find that very often on the buyer side is that the siblings or the heirs to the property know nothing about it. They have visited their parents on the weekends, and that's about all they know about the house. They don't know anything about the septic, the water heater, and important questions that buyers usually have. And I totally agree with the pre-inspection. That would alleviate so many unknown things from coming up when the buyer is looking at the property as well.
Yeah. And let's talk about from the buyer's perspective. If there's a buyer out there shopping for a home and your realtor says, okay, well, this is an estate sale, so that makes it a little bit different than a regular sale with a seller who's going to be physically, engaged in the process. So sometimes estate sale listings will have a little clause that says, and this is really important for your realtor to be able to let you know about, it could say that the property is going to continue to be marketed, and it's the fiduciary obligation of the estate to get the most amount of money possible, because there are heirs and things need to be divided equally. So there's a obligation there to not take the lowest offer. And sometimes what we find with buyers is if they're unaware of that, they make an offer, your offer could be accepted. And in some estate sale situations, the estate itself can kind of kick out that first buyer right up until closing. If another buyer comes through and offers a certain amount, I think it's a $10,000 amount more than your offer, then the estate has the right to sort of push you aside or give you the opportunity to beat that new offer. So it's not as secure of a transaction sometimes as just a regular sale.
I have had some instances, though, that the buyer's offer, I've asked the seller's agent to make sure of this so that the buyers have a comfort level. And I've been in situations that they do accept the offer and it's a solid offer and it stays, that there's no other offer that could come in to bump that out. So that's very important to always ask that question of the seller's agent to make sure that they know.
And it really all depends on the type of estate sale. We're not experts at probate situations, and there are going to be different scenarios that follow along with however that property is to be disposed of and who's in charge of that disposition.
What I've also noticed, though, is that the time frame of the closing could be different as well. Let's say that you're doing just a regular transaction. Maybe the lender needs 30 days to close the property, 45 days. But the transactions that I've done with an estate like this, it sometimes can take 60 or more days. Depends on where they are in the process.
Yeah. Okay, so that's true. The timing of a transaction like this could be different than a typical sale. Almost all of it is going to be different than a typical sale, but it's going to depend on where in the probate process you are or where you find yourselves. How well did your parents prepare ahead of time? And if it's possible to avoid probate altogether, that's going to be the best bet. That there are ways to do that. And if if you have parents that are here on the Cape or anywhere and they're getting older and you know that the inevitable is out there, maybe it's a scary thing for them to think about, but if you could just broach the subject and just let them know that there are things that they can do now to ensure that the transition is going to be really simple for their kids. And, depending on how they've deeded that property, it could just go directly to an heir without having to deal with probate at all.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's not the funnest topic today.
No, it isn't.
But there's a lot to know, and you just want to make sure that you have really experienced people on your side when it comes to your realtors and your attorneys, and they'll guide you through the process. Well, thanks for joining us on Cape Cod Like a Local, and until next time, have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.